Hello there and welcome to this video. As you probably don't know, this is my very first YouTube video. I'm trying to build up a channel where I can talk about all kinds of analog stuff, like in this video bodies, but also lenses or all kinds of accessories. English is not my native language, so my pronunciation is not the best. I hope you can forgive me. If you want to support me and you like this video, you can just subscribe, leave a comment or like this video. So today I'm talking about the Minolta X-700. It's a analog 35mm SLR single lens reflex camera. It was introduced by Minolta in 1981, the same year it got the European Camera of the Year award. It was discontinued in 1999. It was the first camera to have TTL, which stands for through the lens flash metering. So let's have a look at it. The X700 has a MD mount, which is basically the same as the slightly older MC mount, but the MD mount will allow the camera to control the aperture. To take the lens off, simply push that button and turn it counterclockwise. If you want to put a lens on, just align the red dots and turn it clockwise. Here we have the cable release socket. So if you have a cable release, you can put it in there and screw it in there and shoot without touching the camera, which will reduce shakes for like long exposures. Down here we have the depth of field preview button, which will show you what the picture would look like with the selected aperture. Because if you got a lens on this camera or any other camera, except for a few M42 lenses that I know, it will always show you the biggest aperture on the camera, and even if you change it here, it will always stay the biggest one. So if you want to see what it looks like on a smaller aperture, you need to press that button, which will close the aperture. Over here we have the PC socket for studio flashes. Up here we have the AEL and ST button. AEL, you need to press the button down, stands for outer exposure lock, which will just save the exposure the camera chose, as long as you press the button. Pushing the button up will activate the self timer. So if you press the shutter, this will blink and take a picture after a while. Up here we have the winder, the film winder. Over here we have the window that shows you how many pictures you have already taken. This is the on-off button, but it's actually a slider. So this camera has three modes of on and off. On, off, and another on button, which will just make the camera beep when you put your finger on the shutter button. The camera has times from 1 second to 1,000 of a second, plus a B mode, which stands for bulb, In bulb mode, the camera will take a picture as long as you press the shutter. Over here we have A mode, which is aperture priority. So the camera will select a time for the aperture you've selected. P mode is program auto exposure, and the camera will just do everything for you as long as you put the aperture on the lens to the smallest you've got there. This will work with MD lenses, of course. So what this does is this pin on the camera will push that little pin on the this pin on the lens. Will push this little pin on the camera, so the camera knows it's ready for the P mode and for controlling the aperture. Over here we have the exposure compensation, so you can over and under expose your picture. Just press that button and move it up and down. This is the rewind knob, and under the rewind knob there is the ISO selection dial. It will go from 25 to 1600 or 1600, however you want to call it. Just push that up and turn it around. Under the camera there's the battery. You can just unscrew it with a little coin. This is the tripod mount. These are contacts for automate winder, like my Minolta Moto Drive over here. What this does, you can simply screw it down there. What it does, if you turn it on and the camera on, it will automatically wind the film. You have a single, a low and a high mode. It will accept 8 AA batteries. This button, if you switch it there, you can use that as a release button, as a shutter button. This over here will push the little button on the camera this one here, that will allow you, if you got film in there, to rewind. On the back, and that's the last thing I want to talk about, you have this thing here, I have no clue what it's called. If somebody know, write it in the comment. But it's very useful for me, or people like me, who always forget what kind of film they got in there. Of course, I don't have film in there yet. But if you put film in there, you can just rip off a piece of the film package and simply put it there. That's it. Thank you for watching. And as said earlier, if you want to support me and like this video, just subscribe, leave a like and a comment.